The artist at work. What does the word artist bring to mind? Perhaps genius, talented, brilliant, misunderstood, phenom. Maybe it conjures an image of a figure gazing into the distance with a pen in hand. The idea of work is often absent from the narrative of that genius or tortured artist. But the act of producing art can be extraordinarily labor-intensive. The creation of any artwork demands a physical presence and effort, with some media requiring more than others. The self-portraits and portraits of artists in this section highlight artists in the action of creation, or even as the act. These images strain geographical and chronological boundaries, yet represent many compositional similarities. How do artists choose to portray themselves and their peers, and what imprint do these depictions leave on their viewers? Here we see Michael Lucero's sculpture, untitled The Artist, as well as two prints from Jim Dine's series, Four Palettes. The palette, an essential tool of the painter, stands in for the artist in these two works. It replaces the artist's head, in the case of Lucero's sculpture, and the entire body in Dine's screen print. The artists strip away their personhoods, reducing themselves to the instrument of their art. Lucero maintains a skeleton of humanness, with the palette retaining a slight resemblance to a head. A hole denotes an eye, a slash runs across the bottom imitating a toothy grin, and the oval of pink color jauntily mimics a blush. What does it mean to have a self-portrait that contains no recognizable image of the person? Lace production, requiring delicate hand craftsmanship, was a female-dominated field until the Industrial Revolution. The invention of lace machines made lace more popular and accessible, but also took its creation from the hands of women. However, Baltas Lacemaker reveals how the tradition was kept alive in a household setting. Domestic activities traditionally done by women, like lace making or embroidery, have often been classified as amateur craft. But how far is the separation between art and craft? And how often has the work of women been classified as one but not the other? Raymond Gleckler, an alumnus of the University of Wisconsin-Madison Art Department and a longtime professor in the print area, depicts himself in the middle of engraving. He is intentionally engaged with the piece in his hands, curving his back and leaning his head to look closely at the work in front of him. Gleckler engages his entire body in this act of creation, flexing his feet and bending his knees close to his work table. His creased shirt and static struck hair lays bare his focus, and his wrinkled forehead and gnarled knuckles reinforce his age and experience. Gleckler is the picture of a veteran artist whose entire being is still devoted to his craft. A marked change from his two earlier self-portraits neighboring this. Otagawa Kunisada was the most popular artist of woodblock prints in 19th century Japan. In this print, he is immortalized by his student, Toyohara Kunichika. Elaborate memorial portraits such as this were reserved for the most popular artists and actors. Kunisada exudes success, lounging with a pipe in his hand and wearing luxurious robes decorated with butterflies. Although known for his prints, Kunisada is shown at a calligraphy table with paper, brushes, and ink spread before him. Kunisada's gaze lingers on the script of his obituary surrounding him, a contemplative moment before artistic activity. Netsuke are small sculptural objects used to attach a small container, called sagemono, to the sash of a kimono. Because kimono designs did not include pockets, sagemono were necessary to hold personal items. Netsuke are often intricately detailed, like this one of a young boy sitting at a writing desk and practicing calligraphy. The boy holds a calligraphy brush or fude, while a stack of paper and inkstone lie on the desk in front of him. Calligraphy as an art form was fundamental to Japanese education, and in the 18th century, instruction became more accessible to youths outside the upper classes with the development of temple schools, a public education system. When you hear the word artist, what images, symbols, or words come to mind? The self-portraits seen here range from realistic to whimsical, and in some cases, totally abstract. If you had to portray yourself as an inanimate object, what object would you choose? I think I'd be a nice warm pot of Earl Grey tea. Oh, with a cute tea cozy and a matching cup and saucer. So what about you? Share your vision of your inanimate self with us in the comments, or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Chazen Art UW.